Hey guys, welcome back to Meghan Grace DIY. Today's tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to make a really adorable, simple zippered tote. This tote is a great option for bringing your lunch to work or keeping all your sewing supplies, and the pattern can be very easily altered to make it bigger or smaller. The materials you need for today's tutorial are 2 different types of fabric, and the measurements are on the screen, some quilted fabric, some heat and bond, and a 12-inch zipper. To get started, we're going to take our 2 pieces for the outside of the bag and lay them flat on the table. I'm using black for the top and the sloth fabric for the bottom. For the top panel, you'll need 13 inches by 8 inches of fabric. And you'll need about the same measurements for the bottom panel, but I have this piece currently folded in half, so it actually ends up being double. I'm going to take the fabric for the top and I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half lengthwise. And then I'm going to fold it in half widthwise. I'm going to take the pattern piece for the top band and make sure the side that says cut unfold is lined up with the shorter fold of the fabric. This will then unfold to reveal a band for both sides of the bag. Next, take the print fabric for the bottom of the bag and fold it in half a second time. Taking the pattern piece for the bottom half of the bag, line it up with the fold on the fabric and pin it in place. This will give you both sides of the bag as well. Once your pattern pieces are pinned down, you can go ahead and cut them out. Before we move on to constructing the bag, we're going to go ahead and put our handle together. For the handle, I cut 2 pieces of fabric that are 20 inches long and 3 inches wide. To prep your handle pieces, you're going to take it over to the iron and you're going to fold it in half lengthwise and press it in place. Then you're going to fold each edge of the strap in by about 3/8 of an inch. If you wanted a little bit more strength in your straps, at this point you could put a strip of interfacing inside them. But for this project, I don't think interfacing is needed. You'll need 2 straps total, and you're going to take both of your straps over to the sewing machine and you're going to stitch the fold closed closest to the right edge, about 1/4 inch inside. Once done stitching, you should no longer be able to open the folded fabric. It should be just one long, strong strip. Now let's start putting the actual bag together. Take your strap and line it up with the edge of the corner at the bottom of the bag. Go ahead and pin it in place. Then you're going to take the other end of the strap and bring it over to the same spot on the other side of the bag and also pin it in place. Make sure that you don't have any twists in your strap once it's pinned. Now you're going to take the top band of fabric and lay it on top of the bottom band of the fabric. If your top band of fabric has an outside to it or a right side, the right side should be touching here. Now that you've got the top band and the bottom band pinned, we're ready to go ahead and sew them together. At the machine, I'm going to sew the 2 pieces of the bag together at 3/8 of an inch. Make sure that you're catching the straps as you sew. With our seam sewn, we're going to go ahead and press the top band of the bag upwards. I'm also going to press my straps towards the top of the bag. This is an optional step, but I went back in and added 1 row of top stitching about 1/8 of an inch from that seam line on the side of the straps, just to make sure the straps really stayed up. Now you're going to need your quilted pieces. This is what I like to use when I make totes, but a lot of people use a lot of different things, like foam or felt or any other kind of stiffening fabric. I'm going to use the side of the bag that I already created as my pattern piece. Got the bag pinned down, I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. Don't worry if it's too thick to cut both layers at once. You can do it one at a time. Once you've got the quilting cut out, you're going to go ahead and lay it on top of your heat and bond. You want your heat and bond to be double layered. This way, when you go to cut it out, you'll cut out a layer for both sides of the bag. If you've never used heat and bond before, it's basically a craft interfacing that is paper on one side and glue on the other side. You're going to place the glue side down onto the quilted fabric. And then with a high heat iron, you're going to go ahead and melt all of the glue onto the fabric. See how as my iron hits the fabric, you can see the quilting through to the other side? That means that the glue is melting and the heat and bond is doing its thing. The heat and bond should take about 20 seconds to fully fuse to the fabric, but make sure that all of your edges are fully melted down. After giving the heat and bond about 30 seconds to cool, you can go ahead and peel the paper away. Next, we're going to place the completed side of our tote onto the quilted layer, and we're going to fuse them together. We want to line up the layers as accurately as possible, and then again with a high heat iron, you're going to go ahead and press them together. Again, I really like the quilted fabric because I can see it through once the heat and bond is fused, and it tells me that the heat and bond is good to go. Once you've repeated all of those steps to do both sides of the bag, we're going to go over to the machine and we're going to place a zigzag stitch along the top edge of the top band. With using the quilted fabric, I opt to not use a lining in my bags, so this zigzag stitch is going to finish off our seam nice and professional. Another thing I like to do when I make bags is use a contrasting zipper for a little extra pop of color. I'm going to take the edge of the bag and fold it under about 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch. And then you're basically going to place this onto the zipper tape and stitch it down. A zipper foot would help you get closer to the teeth, but if you don't have one, that's okay. You can still put the zipper in this way. I want to take a quick moment to apologize for any shaking during the video. My larger tripod actually broke and I had to use the one to finish this video that attaches to the table. You can see how hard it is to sew through all those layers because the machine's making it shake. You're going to sew one side of the bag to one side of the zipper and the other side of the bag to the other side of the zipper. Then you're going to fold it like a sandwich and we're ready to go ahead and construct the body of the bag. When putting together the body of the bag, because we've already attached the straps, you want to make sure that you don't catch the straps in any of your seams. We're going to do a straight stitch down both sides of the bag and the bottom of the bag, and then we're going to go ahead and finish it off with a zigzag stitch. As for the ends of the zipper, you can go ahead and sew up to the zipper tape. If you happen to have a zipper that's too long for your project, you can just put a hand-sewed tack at the end of the zipper so it doesn't accidentally come apart. Once you finish your straight stitch and your zigzag, your seam should look like this, and make sure you clip off any extraneous threads. Our last step in our bag is going to be mitering the corners, or as I like to say, closing the frog mouth. You're going to pinch the corner of the squares that's cut out of the bottom of the bag, bringing the seams together. Then you're going to go ahead and sew a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch to finish off the corners. And this is the best part of any project. Now that it's done, we can go ahead and flip it inside out for the big reveal. Make sure you pay special attention to all the corners and push them out so the bag is the right shape. And congratulations, you've made it to the end of your project. This is a great little bag for your sewing supplies, or if you wanted to add an insulated layer, you could use it to bring your lunch to work. And what I think is the best thing about this type of bag is you can scale it up or down to meet any size you need. Thanks again for stopping by Meghan Grace DIY. I've been having so much fun making these videos over the past few weeks. I want to take a minute to thank all my new subscribers and to thank everyone for their lovely comments in the comment section. And if there's any types of tutorials that you're looking for, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if you'd like to help my channel keep growing, please feel free to share this video out on your socials or check me out at Meghan Grace DIY on Instagram and Facebook. And don't forget to subscribe, and happy sewing.